Late winter, that's the answer. If you want the short version of this whole episode, there it is. If you've got trees around your place in the Baton Rouge area and you're wondering when to get them trimmed, the sweet spot runs from about the middle of December through the end of February. But the why behind that matters, and so do the exceptions, because there are a few trees around here that don't play by that rule at all. So let's get into it. Here's what's happening inside the tree during those winter months. It's dormant. Sap movement has slowed way down, growth has basically stopped, and the tree is coasting. When you make a cut in that window, the tree isn't bleeding energy out of the wound. And then March hits, growth kicks back in, and that cut closes up fast. You're timing the injury right before the healing season. That's the whole idea. There's a practical side too, and honestly this one gets overlooked. Bare branches. When the leaves are gone, you can actually see the tree. A good crew can walk up to a bare oak and read the structure like a map, crossing limbs, weak forks where two leaders are pushing against each other, dead wood tucked up in the interior. In July, all of that's hidden behind a wall of green. You're guessing. In January, you're not. And then there's the decay side of it. Insects and fungal spores are at their lowest activity in the cold months. That matters more here than almost anywhere because we live in a humid climate. A fresh cut on a warm, wet day is an open door. Every spore floating around is looking for exactly that, cut in the cold, and that door is basically closed. Now here's something worth saying out loud. Most of the pruning advice floating around out there wasn't written for us. It was written for places with hard winters and a short, tight growing season, 3 or 4 months of real growth and then it's over. Baton Rouge sits in Zone 9A. Our trees push new growth from March all the way into November. That's a long, long season. And that works in your favor. A tree here has months of active growth to seal over a correct cut. Recovery is genuinely faster than it'd be up north. But there's a flip side, and it's a real one. Those same warm, wet summers that grow the tree also feed the decay fungi. And hurricane season lands at the exact moment your trees are carrying their heaviest load, full canopy, full of leaves, soaked with water. Maximum weight, maximum sale area, worst possible timing. So let me walk you through the year, month by month. December through February is your best window, full stop. That's when you do the real work, structural pruning, thinning out a canopy, reducing large limbs, clearance work on the big mature oaks. If you've got one significant job to do this year, do it here. March through May, you're limited, light shaping only. If you've got spring bloomers, prune them right after the flowers drop. Otherwise, stay off the heavy cuts. The tree is in its growth flush, pouring everything into new leaves, and taking a lot of wood off right then is fighting the tree while it's working hardest. June through August is selective. Dead wood removal, sure. Clearance off the roof or the driveway, absolutely. Hazard reduction, yes, but keep the total volume of what you're taking off light. It's brutally hot, the tree's under stress, and heavy removal in that heat is a lot to ask. September through November, caution. That's storm damage repair and safety cuts. What you don't want to do is heavy pruning in the fall, because you can trigger a flush of tender new growth right before the first cold snap, and that new growth has no defenses. It just gets killed. Now, dead wood is the exception to every single one of those. A dead limb has no season. It's already gone, the tree isn't putting anything into it, and removing it doesn't stress the tree at all. If it's dead, take it whenever you find it. Let's talk about storm season, because this is where timing turns into actual money and actual risk. Hurricane season runs June through November. The smart play is to get your canopy work and limb reduction done in the winter beforehand. When you thin out a crown properly, you're letting wind pass through the tree instead of pushing against a solid wall of foliage. That's the difference between a tree that flexes and a tree that snaps. Waiting until there's a named storm sitting in the Gulf, that almost never works out. At that point, every crew from Denham Springs to Gonzales is booked solid, and the weather window slams shut fast. Plus, once the storm actually hits, the whole nature of the job changes. It's not pruning anymore, it's triage. It's debris removal and dealing with damaged limbs. And anything touching a roof or a power line becomes an after-hours emergency call instead of a scheduled visit. All right, the trees that break the rules. Live oaks and water oaks. Prune those between November and February. Now, Louisiana hasn't dealt with the oak wilt pressure that Texas has, but dormant season cuts still push the risk of beetle-borne disease down to about zero. It's cheap insurance. Crepe myrtles, late winter before the buds swell. Take out the suckers, the crossing branches, the old seed heads. Leave the main trunks alone, and I'll say this plainly, cutting the tops off flat isn't pruning. It permanently weakens the branch structure, and the tree never really recovers from it. Southern magnolias, light pruning only, late winter or right after the spring bloom finishes. They hold their leaves year-round and they don't respond well to aggressive thinning. Be gentle with them. Pines, winter definitely. Pines bleed heavy sap in warm weather, and a fresh cut in spring or summer is basically an advertisement for bark beetles. And spring-flowering trees, redbud, dogwood, that group. These set next year's buds shortly after they bloom, so you've got a narrow window. Prune within a few weeks of the flowers dropping. Miss it, and you're cutting off next spring's show. Now, all of this timing talk goes out the window in one situation. Safety. Safety beats the calendar every time. If a limb is dead, cracked, or hanging over something you care about, the right month is this month. That means dead or hanging limbs over a driveway, a roof, a play area, cracked branch unions or splits at a main fork, branches rubbing the house, the gutters, a service line, storm-loosened limbs that haven't come down yet, limbs blocking your sight line pulling out of the driveway. None of that gets better on its own. A summer thunderstorm in Baker or Central will find the weak limb long before February gets here. And sometimes trimming isn't the answer at all. Timing only matters if the tree's worth saving. A trunk with extensive decay, a heavy lean with soil lifting at the base, a canopy that's more than half dead, that's a removal candidate, not another round of cuts. Removal season is flexible, though winter's still easier on your lawn. The ground's firmer, there's less canopy to drop, and it pairs nicely with grinding the stump out before you reseed in spring. One last thing, the dormant window here is short, and it fills up. Calling in October or November for a January appointment gets you a better slot and usually a better price than calling in the middle of a February cold snap when everybody's scrambling. So if you're not sure whether your trees need work this winter or whether they can wait another year, just reach out. We'll come take a free look at your property, no pressure either way. Tree Service Baton Rouge, you can reach us at 225-416-8809. We cover Baton Rouge, Denham Springs, Gonzales, Baker, Central, and the surrounding parishes. Take care of your trees before the weather does it for you.